If getting up from the floor has started taking more effort, don't jump to blaming your legs. This movement isn't one skill, it's several. Strength, balance, mobility, and the coordination to shift your weight and pull it all together at once. When one of those pieces gets rusty, the whole thing can feel unfamiliar, even though your legs are still doing their job. The good news is, you don't have to practice by repeatedly forcing yourself up off the floor. We're going to break it into 5 moves that train each piece on its own, and a 5th that brings them back together. Here's what's actually happening when you get up off the floor. You reposition your body so your legs can generate force. You shift your weight over your base, you stabilize, then you rise. Researchers who study this have found that older adults tend to rise a few different ways. Some come up through a half-kneeling position, some push up through all fours, some roll and rise. There's no single correct method, just whichever feels most stable for you. So rather than thinking, my legs aren't strong enough, think of it as a movement your body hasn't practiced in a while. That's why we're not starting on the floor, we're starting somewhere much more manageable. Before you begin, clear the space and keep something sturdy within reach. A wall, a heavy chair, a countertop. Move slowly. This isn't a test to pass today. Just notice how much support you need, which side feels easier, and whether you can control the movement without rushing. Stop if anything causes pain or dizziness. And if you've had a recent fall, a joint replacement, severe arthritis, or any balance condition, check with your doctor or a physical therapist first. They can tailor this to you. Let's start with the sit to stand. Sit on a firm chair, feet flat beneath you, and lean your upper body forward before you push through your feet to stand. Use your hands if you need to. 8 to 10 reps is a good target. Fewer is fine if that's where you're starting. You're not pulling yourself straight up. You're bringing your body forward so your legs can take over. A higher chair makes this easier, and you can lean on your hands less as it gets more familiar. Once that weight shift feels natural, hold on to something stable and stand tall. Then shift your weight slowly to one side, pause for a couple of seconds, come back to center, and shift the other way. 8 to 10 shifts per side, kept small and controlled. This is the same repositioning your body needs when it comes up off the floor. We're just rehearsing it on its own first. Next comes the glute bridge, which trains the hip extension that helps you push up from a low position, whether that's a chair, a kneeling stance, or the floor itself. Lie on your back with your knees bent and feet flat. Lift your hips gently, hold for a couple of seconds at the top, and lower with control. 10 to 12 reps. If the full range feels like too much, lift less. Control matters more than height. Now we get closer to the real thing, a supported transition through a half-kneeling position. You don't need to start on the floor for this either. A step, a low bench, even a couch cushion works. Bring one foot forward into a half-kneeling position, use your support as needed, and rise to standing. 5 or 6 reps per side. This one pulls together everything so far: positioning, weight transfer, balance, and force, with an elevated surface so you control the difficulty. Lower the surface as it gets easier. And that brings us to the full movement. Start at whatever level matches you today. Floor to hands to an elevated support, floor through half-kneeling to a chair, floor through half-kneeling to standing with support nearby, or floor to standing with reduced support. 3 to 5 unhurried reps. If half-kneeling doesn't feel stable, coming up through all fours works just as well. No version has been shown to be any safer than another, so use what feels secure. What you're doing here is combining the forward shift from the sit to stand, the controlled weight transfer, the hip extension from the bridge, and the transition itself. The goal was never to prove you can do it without your hands, it's to give yourself more ways to get there. Here's how to build this into 3 weeks. In week 1, practice the first 3 moves 2 or 3 times, using the rep counts above, and stop a rep or 2 short of fatigue. You're learning the positions, not maxing out. In week 2, if that felt manageable, start relying a little less on your hands, try a slightly lower surface, and add the half-kneeling transition a couple of times. In week 3, add the full floor to stand progression 2 or 3 times, still just 3 to 5 reps. This is skill practice, not a workout to exhaust yourself.
It's worth knowing that health guidelines for adults over 65 already call for muscle strengthening activity on 2 or more days a week, plus balance work. This progression covers both. And if after 3 weeks the floor to stand still feels significantly harder than it should, that's worth bringing to a physical therapist. This video isn't a substitute for that. Now go back to where we started. Getting up off the floor felt like one big challenge. We've broken it into smaller pieces. So when you check back in with yourself, don't ask whether you can do it without your hands. Ask whether you need a little less support, whether the transition feels smoother, whether you have more control. That's progress, even when it's not dramatic. Sometimes it's just one less hand or one less hesitation. You're not training to move like you did at 30. You're training so everyday movements stay available to you. If getting up off the floor is getting harder, start where you are and build from there. Let me know in the comments which part feels hardest, the initial rise, the weight shift, or the kneeling to standing transition. It helps me plan what to cover next. And if this helped, subscribe for more mobility work built for real life.